afternoon. Let's make a video that requires a disclaimer. So, disclaimer from the very beginning. Yeah? Okay. I'm making this video because somebody's asked me a question. And really, I'm making this video against my better judgment. The topic is actually very important. I think it would be a smart thing to discuss this topic. And if it wasn't for the typical target audience of this person, it would be a very good topic, rich topic to discuss. But you see, there are some topics which involve personalities who have fanatic fans. And sadly, not all the fans would be able to listen with their ears. Some of them will listen with their nose. And you will get a lot of reactions that are not intellectual. And it can be very difficult, is why I run away from these topics. But you know, the person who's actually drawn me into this conversation is one I respect. And they know my views on things, is why they have drawn me. And I am reluctantly coming in here. So this story is more known to the Ghanaians, the West Africans, the Africans. But I know now there's a Jamaican artist who is in Ghana for one of our musicians. So we are now beginning to spiral out. So maybe some of you know the name. But this story revolves Shatta and Maali, not because of Shatta and Maali himself, but because he has a new daughter recently. So Shatta has a new girl. Her name is Maali. And congratulations to Wale and Maali. It is wonderful to have a baby, and especially when it's a little cutie girl. Yeah. But this person asked me, Amma, what do you think of Maali? And what do you think of their interactions? And I'm like, ooh. Right, listen. What I say to people now, and I wrote it actually right here. Choose your bed based on your skin. Is what I say to people. Choose your bed based on your skin. When you ask me what I think of Maali and the relationship she has with Shatta, you are asking me based on my skin. And I'm going to answer that question based on my skin. But I'm also aware that I'm not Maali. And I could never date somebody like Shatta for obvious reasons. But that's what I'm going to discuss. See, Shatta and Maali is for the public. Shatta and Maali is not too different from many iconic men. If you've paid attention to Nelson Mandela's children and the things they say about their dad, it will make a lot of sense for people like Shatta and Maali. Shatta and Maali is actually a very loyal friend. I've seen Shatta at least with Medical. And Shatta is in Medical's house. Medical is in Shatta's house. Shatta is a boy's boy. Boys. He's loyal to his boys. And it's very nice to the boys. The problem is for the girl in his life. You always have stiff competition with the boys. And the SM fans, oh, Shatta is very loyal to the SM guys. Well, there's 24 hours in a day. And in all this time, whilst he's very busy, loyal to his people, it is time that is going to be taken from your budget. And so availability of such guys can be very difficult. So my friend was telling me that, you know, we didn't get any of this when we had babies. Yeah, when I had a baby, there was not a single balloon in the hospital for me. Not a single balloon. A few people brought me some very nice flowers, but that's it. I was an ordinary girl living a very mediocre life at the time. And so there was no flamboyance whatsoever. My husband did not fill the hospital with flowers and did not fill the hospital with balloons. And I was not posted on anywhere because I had a baby, because of the profile we had. And my friend says, look, isn't this our fellow woman who has had a baby? And she is now getting this treatment. And I'm like, ooh, listen. The other side of it is that my husband did not have a record deal. My husband did not have to go on tour. My husband did not have a lot of boys that he needed to chill with. In fact, childcare was split between my husband and I quite evenly, because I worked during the day. I was a teacher. And whilst I went to school during the day, he had the kids. And then he worked in the evening. When I came from work, we swapped. And I did my shift. And then he went to work. My husband was in the house most of the time. Okay, sometimes he was on his phone. Sometimes he was watching football. Sometimes he was doing whatever. But at least he was home. He was not on the road. My husband did not have any fans. So he did not need to do anything for the SM this and for the SM that. Yeah, the radio and TV interviews, they encroach on personal time. I have also been very lucky in being friends with people with very famous partners, very well-known partners, very rich partners. And I have discovered it didn't actually make much difference if the person was famous or the person was rich or the person was successful or a combination of these things. But if you were with somebody who considered themselves very high value and your value was not exactly matched accurately to theirs, they were the priority and you were always the subsidiary. Where they need to go is where they go, and where they need to go often will make you cry. Will make you cry. Choose your bed based on your skin. A woman like me cannot date a Shatta and Maali. All these things that I have described, the encroachment will get in my head. It would. It would. The beautiful balloons and the rest of it. One of the things that I found myself very, very, very... What would be the best word to use here? I found myself very sensitive to this. Was the notion of an appearance keeping outside. If a person made it seem outside that they were very attentive, that they were very caring, that they were very this and they were very that, and I, in my lived experience, was not seeing or feeling that, I felt that was fakery, and I struggle with this fakery. It is something I can't tolerate. So to think that I could be in the house on my own, be left alone whilst a person is out, and yeah, they will be working, but their work is a lot of fun and they will have a lot of fun. So whilst a person is out of the house, is having a lot of fun at my expense is how I will feel, because I'll be the one with the diaper and the baby and the noise and be stuck at home instead of having fun with my guys. If a person made the outward expression and the inward expression did not match it, I will struggle. Because of the way my construct is, I will see it as fake. And because I will see it as fake, I will have no respect for it. And so I will not appreciate it. So very soon, a person will find me and my attitude also within the domain of ingratitude. And you will find me and this person bickering a lot. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of couples bicker. Don't you see that I've dropped everything to come for you? You dropped for how many minutes to come here? Did you drop it because people were looking? Did you do that outwardly to look good? If that's the interest and that's the motivation, I'm not interested. And the person will also be thinking, well, I dropped it for you. I could have. Yeah. I couldn't date a celebrity. I just couldn't. I am too selfish. I'm too self-centered. I am too inward-seeking. I am all about spending time with the person who is with me. Money, I can make money. So I have never really needed somebody's money. What I cannot make is time. I cannot make time. I cannot create company. That's what I want. Premium quality time spent with me is my actual premium consideration. And so a person like me needs to be making a bed with a guy whose job does not revolve going out, with a guy who is not committed 24/7, with a guy whose secretary does not need to be here in his ear 24 hours. I could never date a US president. Can you imagine? I was listening to Michelle and I'm like, I could not. If my husband ever wanted to become a US president, thank God he can't. He's not a US anybody. But that would be the greatest violation of me and my personal values and the things that I hold dear. And so a person like me who knows me should be finding the nearest broke ass simpleton next door, and that is the bed that my skin can tolerate. The broke ass simpleton who does not have business this and business that, just does a simple job and come back home, as I am also doing mine, and we are home, and is willing and able to spend some time with me discussing the tomfoolery that I like to discuss, will make me much happier than somebody who can fill my room with balloons and to have the world and their friends at my beck and call, who will not be available at my beck and at my call. So girls like Maali, the ones who are able to survive, I don't know Maali, so I can't say 100%, but Shatta has a history of not being able to date for too long. A lot of these things, I'm sure if you were to ask Michi, and Michi would be honest and sincere and tell you that thing about being with the boys, that thing about being readily accessible to everybody else out there, means that you will not be as readily accessible at the house front. And for that reason, the person at the house front is going to be feeling left behind all the time. And I'm very sure this is based on my observations of people. I've told you, I am the queen of unnecessary undertones. I see things that nobody has paid me to see. But yeah, I've seen a few interviews with Michi. Some in the very early days after the breakup, and some a few years subsequent. But I think, I dare say, that if Shatta Michi wants to be honest, and Shatta Michi wants to tell you one of the reasons why, it would be because of how inaccessible he was. And as Michi was growing, as Michi was maturing, as Michi herself was becoming, she would have been less likely, less able to tolerate the deficits that I have just described. If Shatta, for example, is with a very young girl, one who does not dare exert herself, it will suit him. If Shatta was with a very broke girl, one who could not even feed herself and requires Shatta to do anything and everything for her, that person is likely to be able to accept whatever, wherever, because they don't make any contribution to what happens in the home front, and so they cannot make exertions that may influence your ability to earn. Those people are willing often to hold their true feelings to themselves and to temper with an alternative feeling based on what needs to be done. And so if a girl is younger, a girl is hungry, you will find her more capable of doing that. I think that as Michi was doing her own music and doing her own thing, as Michi was becoming a full-on celebrity in her own right, as Michi was able to exert also because of her own position without necessarily remaining in somebody's shadow, Michi would be developing an opinion which is very similar to what I described of who I am. I suppose I've become who I am now based on the trajectory I have been on, and based off of that, I've told you the things that I can and cannot tolerate. So no, a woman like me is never jealous when you see the full-blown balloons and the this and the that, because there are certain connotations that go with the full-blown balloon and the this and the that. I'm not by any means suggesting that everybody who is able to do full-blown, because I also do know some very rich people who don't need to work as hard, who have all the money to fill a person's. I know a friend like that. Yeah, rich, don't need to work, and has chosen to work 3 times a week and spends majority of his time with the baby and with the mother at home. They go to dinner, they do this, very devoted family man, because he is able to actually afford. So no, I'm not suggesting every rich person, but it's actually those in the middle, those who have made some money, wield some influence, but do not have enough money to not work, those who need to continuously work, and also those who enjoy being out. Those who enjoy having the excuse to go. There are some people who really enjoy the excuse and would use it anytime. So yeah, here goes. You see, the story was not actually much about Shatta, but it is a Shatta thing which has triggered it. No, I'm not suggesting I know Maali, but that was the case study, the reference points the person gave me. So I've gone there. Now, those of you with long mouth, look at my mouth carefully, especially those of you who are uncouth or civilized and think you are the only ones who know how to insult. Look at my mouth and listen to my voice very carefully. And let me tell you here, I will have absolutely no patience for that kind of tomfoolery. So if you know what is good for you, you will advise yourself and you will act with maturity in the comment section of this video. I'll see you guys in a bit.